Hello guys. Today I want to talk about why you may not know your worth. One of the reasons why you may not know your own worth. And I'm going to use my life as an example. Okay, so maybe you all grew up in a family where you were beat, abused. Nothing you ever did was right, and the harder you tried, the worse it got. And maybe sometimes you didn't even know why you were in trouble or why you were getting disciplined. Basically, it's because you were bullied. And not knowing this, you subconsciously took it into your own self and believed that you weren't good enough because the ones that you loved and the ones that you cared about and the ones that were supposed to love and protect you, they didn't protect you. They allowed you to go through it, or they were a bully themselves. So unknowingly you carried this into other relationships, and you called in those same type of people that you grew up with because that's the way you thought love was. That's how you thought love was supposed to be, how, you were supposed to be treated if you were loved. And if you weren't fighting and you weren't arguing, you weren't loved. If you weren't being beat, you weren't loved. If you weren't being controlled and told what to do, you weren't loved. Well, that's a relationship where that other person is more of a parent than a lover. And they've probably been bullied too. But when you get in relationships like that, it usually comes from a wound from your childhood or your younger years where you didn't feel like you were enough. You didn't feel like you were worthy. You didn't feel like you deserved love, and it's not true. It's just not true. And when you have wounds like that, you have to go back. You have to go back and think about your childhood and think about you were always enough. You were always enough. It was those parents and those people's own insecurities that made them bully you and treat you the way that they did. It never had anything to do with you, ever. It was them projecting their own insecurities on you. And you were too young to understand. And you were too young to defend yourself. And, you couldn't mentally comprehend why you were being treated like that. You may have heard things in school about this is wrong and that is wrong, but you still could not comprehend that. So you grew up, you got out of that situation, you moved on with your life, and you might have met someone nice, but it fell apart. And it fell apart because you had those insecurities. It fell apart because possibly the other person had those same insecurities, and you mirrored each other. And so a relationship that would have worked had those wounds not been there fell apart. And then you went on to meet someone else who abused you or put you down or made you feel less than what you were. It is only their own insecurities and their projections on you. Any relationship you're in, whatever the other person does to you, it's because of their own insecurities, their own childhood wounds that they're carrying with them. And it's time for us to change the pattern, man. It's time for us to show our kids something different. You know, we can either keep continuing to fight and argue and bully each other and stay in relationships that just are not working and are toxic, or we can stand up as a nation and fight against it and change it and show our kids something different. You know, show them that bullying isn't right, even to a child. Kids have enough to grow up with without having to feel like they're not enough and they're not loved. So, I don't know who's going to like this message, who isn't, and frankly, I don't care. This message needs to get out there. And we need to do more worldwide to change and stop these patterns of unhealed wounds. And we need to stop passing it on through generation after generation after generation. That's all I have. Have a good day.